You guys demanded that I spoiled this movie on my main page, so I guess I have to give you guys what you want. If you don't know, I'm about to spoil the movie called Girl in the Closet. And if you don't like spoilers, you can watch it for yourself right now on Hulu. But again, I want to give the warning. There are elements in this movie that may not be suitable for certain audiences, so be careful watching it for yourself. The movie follows the story of a little girl named Cameron. It just passed her 10th birthday, and her mom was throwing her a party. At this party is a lot of her family members and a lot of her friends. And that's when her estranged Aunt Mia shows up with her daughter. Cameron's mom is not too happy about this. Cameron's mom and her Aunt Mia have had a lot of bad blood. And it's all because of the things that happened to Cameron's mom when she was a little girl. So what ends up happening is Cameron's mom kicks out Aunt Mia and her daughter. The next day, Cameron is questioning her mom about why she did this. And basically she explains that Aunt Mia is not a very good person. So for a little context, Aunt Mia is actually Cameron's mom's aunt. So technically Cameron's great aunt. Or grand aunt, I'm not really sure. And Cameron's mom was actually sent to live with her after her mother passed away. So she basically explains this the best that she could to Cameron, and Cameron somewhat understands. And after they talk about it, things are pretty much great. That is until Cameron's mom falls to the floor. She ended up having a brain aneurysm and she was in a coma for 3 weeks. When she woke up, she found Cameron and her Aunt Mia sitting at her bedside. And that's where she realizes that she can't take care of Cameron the way that she needs to at this time. And with no one else willing to take her in, Aunt Mia was there to save the day. And it also helped that everyone was convincing her that she had changed. So Cameron's mom sends her to go live with Aunt Mia. Once Cameron gets to the house, she's very optimistic. She walks to the front door, and that's where she meets her long-lost uncle as well as her cousin. Everyone is being really nice, but that is when Cameron notices someone standing in the kitchen. It's this woman who looks very sad, stressed, and wearing these old, torn clothes. On top of that, she has all these burns and bruises all over her. So of course, 10-year-old Cameron decides to question her aunt about it. And Aunt Mia says, oh, she's just the maid, don't mind her. Then immediately after that, Aunt Mia tells the woman to show Cameron where the bedroom is. So that's when they walk to the door, open it, and the woman walks down the stairs. Aunt Mia was putting Cameron in the basement. And for the most part, Cameron was not having it. She was like, I don't want to go down there, I'm scared of the dark. But before she can even think about what was going on, her supposed uncle grabs her from behind, runs down the stairs, and throws her onto a mattress that's on the floor. That's when he runs back upstairs and locks the door behind him. Cameron runs back up the stairs, and that is when she's begging, screaming, yelling for them to open the door. But that's when the woman says it's no use. They're not going to open it for her. She's going to be stuck down there with them. And yes, I said them because there's more than one person down there. So let me tell you the scam of Aunt Mia. She got out of jail recently and she's been trying to find ways to make money. So what she ended up doing was abducting people and stealing their benefits. So any person with a disability or anything like that. And if they didn't have benefits to give, this part is just so horrible. She would force them to do things together and have kids. And then she would steal the benefits coming from the newborn babies. The saddest thing about this is that some of those girls that were trapped down there had numbers and numbers of kids. And a lot of those kids didn't make it. And when there were no kids to bring in money, she would send those girls off to go to motel rooms, meet with strange men, and you know what happens next. I swear you guys, this movie made me so mad. And there was even a cop that was meeting these girls at the motel rooms. And like I said, Cameron was only 10 years old when she first got exposed to this. Aunt Mia kidnapped her and took her for 6 years. She was so evil that she even targeted somebody on a dating app. It was another woman looking for some companionship. She was a nurse and Aunt Mia convinced her to come live with her. But once she walked inside of the house, she got thrown down into the basement also. And eventually she ended up dying. Now let's fast forward to when Cameron was 16 years old. Remember when I said that there was a cop meeting these girls at these motel rooms? Well, one of the girls decided to try and ask him for help. And at first you think he is, but in reality, he's taking her back to Aunt Mia's house. And he's forcing them to tie up some loose ends. So that's when Aunt Mia tells everyone to come up from the basement and watch what's about to happen. She makes the girl kneel in front of her and she hits her so hard in the face with a baseball bat. Telling you guys, this movie is crazy. Then they throw her up inside of the attic for days and days and days without food and water, and she's passed away. Once Aunt Mia finds out about this, she decides to pack all of their things and move to Atlanta. Her daughter had left a few months or years before, so they had a place to stay. That's when they locked the two remaining kids inside of the basement shed under the house. Then they forced Cameron into a little closet. And the entire time, Cameron just kept praying and praying and praying she'd get out of this. And thankfully, one day her prayers were answered, because the landlord of that house came and he was complaining about a certain smell. He got a little suspicious and ended up breaking the lock on the basement door, and that's where he found the two remaining kids. He immediately called 911, and that's where they came in and picked everyone up. And thankfully, they found Cameron in that closet. She hadn't eaten or drank anything for days, and somehow she managed to survive. And that's when everyone was sent to prison. A few years later, Aunt Mia tried to get released, and Cameron was strong enough to stand up and say exactly what happened to her and why she should never see daylight again. Honestly, you guys, this movie is insane. It's insane, and it had me so mad at every single point. But like I said in my last video, it really speaks to the flaws in the Child Protective Services Agency because all of this could have been avoided if they actually were doing their job. Complacency can literally end to something like this. But that's all I'm going to say. Make sure you guys go check out the movie for yourself. It's really good. And it's also based on a true story, so that's even scarier. People are insane. Insane.